Alright guys, so today we are going to do a little yoga class that's going to focus on stretching out the muscles of the low back, hips, glutes, a little bit of our legs as well. These do tend to be some common tight areas, when you're at work, which I know we're not right now, many of us anyway, especially if you have like an office job where you're sitting all day. But chances are, if you're working from home, you're probably sitting at your computer for a fair amount of time, or you could just be sitting at home right now doing a little bit of Netflix watching, YouTube watching, as you are right now, if you're watching this video. And those areas do tend to get tight if we're sitting a lot all day. So this is going to be a little class that's going to stretch them out. I don't have a set time period for how long this is going to be. It could be 45 minutes, it could be closer to an hour. We shall see by the end of class. And these are all going to be done on the ground, seated or lying down. This can also be done in a chair if necessary. All you will need is yourself, basically. If you want a yoga strap, you can use one of those as well. I will not be using one because I don't have the yoga strap. If you do need a yoga strap and don't happen to have one, you can always use instead some sort of hand towel or a t-shirt to, say, loop around your foot if you need some extra help working through a stretch. So that is there if you need it. I'm also going to be using, at the very beginning of class, I'm using a bed pillow folded in half because it's all flat. If you happen to have a yoga bolster at home, you can absolutely use one of those as well. But this is just going to be for a little bit of extra support if you want it or need it. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start sat down in easy pose. I put my pillow folded up in half right underneath my sit bones, just for a little bit of extra support. So it's going to help us open up the hips here as we sit. So just in a nice easy cross-legged position. Knees are going to be a little bit further down if you are set up on a bolster. If not, no worries. Easy pose is just a basic cross-legged position. Hands can either go right on the thighs, on the knees. You can lace the hands together. Give me a couple of shoulder rolls, nice and back. Just getting those shoulders mobilized a little bit. Eyes can either be opened or closed. It doesn't really matter which. Go ahead and switch directions. Just starting off with a little bit of easy movement. Good. Go ahead and set those shoulder blades flat against the back. It's something that I'm going to be cueing here quite a bit. We're going to go ahead and start off by finding some length in the spine. Again, eyes opened or closed. Hips sitting square on the floor. Spine is nice and long. If you have any little kinks in the back, any aches, pains, discomforts, go ahead and wiggle them out. You don't gotta sit completely static in this position if you don't want to. Any sort of movement is good. And remember, we're gonna be dropping those shoulders down and away from the ears. Chest is opened up nice and broad. What tends to happen is we tend to round our shoulders forward, collapsing that chest in. This is a very common posture that we see, and that does tend to lend to some low back pain. So we're focusing on that spine being nice and long, breathing in nice, deep, full breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And eyes can be opened or closed. If your eyes are open, just a nice, easy gaze right over the tip of the nose is perfect. We're just going to find that breath that is going to follow us through the rest of this class. Just centering ourselves, kind of setting that intention before we actually start moving. These aren't going to be quick movements. We're going to be sitting into the stretches for a couple of seconds, couple of breaths, getting the most out of those stretches. You can find that length in the spine, shoulders flat against that back, shoulder blades against the back, nice space between the ears and the shoulders. Good. ahead and breathe in a nice deep breath into the nose. As we exhale, we're going to move just to a gentle twist. We're going to twist to the right. That left hand's going to go right on the outside of that right thigh. Right arm is going to go right behind you. The chest is still up nice and tall. Spine is long. Just a little gentle twist in that low back. Shoulders still pulling down and away from the ears, and your head hasn't gone beyond wherever your shoulders have carried you. So you're not going to turn your head way far back. That's going to put a little bit of unnecessary strain on the shoulders, which we don't want. Again, breathing in nice deep breaths into the nose. Exhale, come back to center. Again, drawing in a nice deep breath. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, twisting this time to the left. That right hand is going to go right on the outside of that left thigh. Shoulders down away from the ears. If you're still set up on that bolster, that hand can go right in the back. You don't have to reach all the way down. Chest is opened up. Again, focus us on the stretch of the low back muscles on the other side of the spine this time. Shoulders are still down and away from the ears. Again, no excessive turning of that neck. The entire torso, entire trunk area is turned in the same direction from the hips right up to the crown of the head. Still drawing in nice deep breaths into the nose. Exhale, come on back to center. I'm going to do a little side bend, so you're going to take that right arm, inhale. Exhale, right hand's going to be placed flat on the floor, reaching that left arm up and across. So reaching that left arm towards the right, nice long line all the way down that left side. You're going to feel a nice little stretch on the left side, still imagining to creating space. Here on the right, you don't want to collapse all the way in. There's still space between that ear and shoulder on the left. If you do want to increase the stretch, you can start on focusing on lowering that right elbow down to the floor. If not, just stay up on that open palm. I like to gaze slightly upward if it's more comfortable to face forward or even slightly down. Do whatever you need to do to release any tension on that neck. Inhale. Center. Exhale, other side. Place that left hand on the floor. Reaching that right arm towards the left. Again, there's space between that ear and shoulder. Creating length down the right, still finding space on the left. Chest is open, breathing in nice and deep. Into the nose. Out through the mouth. And inhale, come back up. If you want to, go ahead and set that bolster aside or pillow if you've been using one. We're going to stay nice and cross-legged. We're going to inhale, raise those arms up. Exhale, we're going to make an X with those arms. Hands go to opposite knees, and you're going to exhale forward. Just a little easy forward bend here to start. It's okay if you don't fold all the way over. We're going to stretch out those muscles of the low back as we bend forward, and we're also going to get the muscles of the upper back and across the shoulders with these crossed arms. Belly's relaxed. Hips stay on the floor. Still breathing in nice and deep. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Inhale, sit back up. We're going to take those arms right into eagle, crossing those over, crossing at the wrists, trying to touch the palms together, stretching out the muscles across the upper back and shoulders. If you do not have the shoulder mobility and flexibility to do this, just give yourself a nice big bear hug. The tighter you hug on, the more you reach onto those opposite shoulders, the more of the stretch you're going to get. If that is too difficult, hands come to prayer position. bring those elbows together. Just trying to find that nice stretch again across the upper shoulders, across the back. And then exhale down. We're going to do that again. Inhale. Exhale down, reverse that cross. Hands go to opposite knees. Fold forward, relaxing that belly. Again, don't worry about folding all the way forward. Even if you're only coming down part way, that's okay. Work with whatever your range of motion is. Again, as we bend forward, hinging from the hips, we're going to be getting that nice extension, that low back, and that nice stretch. And we're going to also get that upper back with those arms crossed over. Couple deep breaths. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Inhale, come on up. Going back into eagle, inhale. Reversing across those arms again, if you need to. Bear hug it out. Or hands to prayer and touch those elbows together, finding that stretch in the upper back. Doing whatever you need to do to get there. I think I already did that one. There we go. And shoulders are down and away from the ears. Don't want to scrunch those shoulders up, creating tension in that neck. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, arms down to the side. So we're going to stay seated here. You're going to keep that left knee tucked in. You're going to extend the right leg out. Let's go ahead and find some length in that spine again. The hips are going to stay on the floor. Imagine those shoulders staying stacked right over the top of the hips to begin with. Nice long spine, chest open. Inhale. Exhale, take that right arm. You're going to balance it on the right leg. You're going to reach that left arm up and across, reaching towards the right. Much like what we did when we were warming up. Easing into this. You're just going to get a little deeper of a stretch this time. Again, there's space between the ears and the shoulders, creating a lot of nice length all the way down that left side. We're going to stretch not only the left oblique muscles on our abdomen, but we're actually going to get a little bit into those low back muscles on the left, especially if we focus on keeping that shoulder pushed back, that chest open. If it is too much to have that arm overhead, simply reach both arms towards the right so you don't have that overhead. And just like we did earlier, just kind of find that neck position that feels most comfortable to you. You'll know if the tension is relieved down that neck. Still creating space on the right side body. You don't want to completely collapse in. And even if you can't reach all the way towards that right foot, just come to wherever you are, work with whatever your range of motion is, and stick with that. Nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. A nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, you are going to reach forward between the legs. The hips stay on the floor. You want the spine to be as neutral as possible with that chest open and shoulders broad. What you don't want to do is completely collapse that chest in. If you do need to, take your pillow, have it out in front of you, and reach forward onto that. So you're just going to kind of reduce that range of motion a little bit. You're keeping that right leg on the floor, and you're keeping that right foot flexed, active and engaged, doing everything on that right side here nice and tight. You want to feel the stretch right down the back of that leg that you have extended out your right leg. You're going to feel a little bit of a stretch in that low back as well as we are extending forward. We do want to focus on that nice tension in the right hamstring. Again, keeping that chest open, that spine nice and flat, shoulder blades pulled back, down, and in. Tension is out of the upper body. Breathing in through the nose. And out through the mouth. And on that next inhale, go ahead and walk those hands back in, set that bolster aside. Again, we're going to once again find some length in that spine, keeping that right leg extended out. This time we are going to turn to face our chest towards our leg. We're not facing forward. And we are going to tip forward from the hips, reaching towards that right foot. Now this is where that strap can come in handy. If you do have issues reaching towards your foot, you can loop that strap around the middle part of the foot, or a towel or a t-shirt. Or if you don't have either any of those things, you can simply reach towards your calf, towards your ankle, or ultimately towards that foot. So we're keeping the right foot flexed and engaged. Chest is reaching towards the top of the leg. Again, we're tipping from the hips, not collapsing forward from the upper back. When we reach forward from the hips, we're going to feel that nice extension in the low back. And that is also going to create some tension in that hamstring, which is exactly what we want out of this stretch. Our single-legged seated forward bend. If you are using a strap or a towel or t-shirt, you want to make sure that you're not pulling too hard onto that, forcing your stretch. Those type of things are there to help with that stretch, to assist the stretch, not to force it. When we force that stretch, we're usually pulling super hard on that, creating a lot of tension in the neck and the shoulders, which we do not want. Still breathing in nice and deep in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's okay if you can't reach all the way to your foot, it's no worries. Just focus on what your range of motion is. Focus on feeling that stretch and stay wherever you feel that stretch. Go ahead and breathe in through the nose and sit on up. We're going to do all that on the other side. This time we're going to extend out our left leg. We're going to tuck in the right. Again, we're going to keep this foot flexed, engaged the whole time, toes spaced slightly apart. Starting off with our side bend. So you're going to inhale and exhale. You're going to place that left arm on that left leg. Again, work with your range of motion. Reaching that right arm up and across, creating some nice length all the way down that right side. From the hips to that middle fingertip here on the right. Stretching out your right oblique muscles, and as you have that shoulder pushed back, you're going to start to feel that nice stretch and that low back on the right side as well. Still find that space in the left side body. We don't want to collapse all the way in. Keeping space between the ear and shoulder, not scrunching that all the way up, creating unnecessary tension in that neck. Still breathing in nice and deep. Again, modification is to simply reach both hands here towards the left, keeping those shoulders pushing back. Again, that chest faces forward, nice and open. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Finding that next position that feels most comfortable for you. Inhale, sit yourself up. Again, finding length in that spine. Inhale. Exhale, walk those hands forward, keeping the left leg straight. Keeping that leg on the floor, you're not picking it up. Keeping that foot flexed. Again, if you're using that pillow or bolster, you can reach forward onto that as well. Extending forward, feeling that nice tension all the way down the back of that left leg. A little bit in that low back. Again, we're keeping the spine as neutral as possible. I'm going to keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Chest open, not collapsed all the way in. We want to avoid any excessive upper or lower back rounding. We won't get the most out of that stretch, and it can start to kind of bother those areas if they are excessively rounded. Relaxing that belly, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Finding that length down the back of the leg. And on that next inhale, go ahead and walk those hands back in, coming back up to seated. Set that bolster aside. Moving once again into that single-legged seated forward bend. So use that strap if you need it. Turning to face that left leg, keeping the hips on the floor. Inhale and exhale, extend forward, reaching towards that foot. Again, hold on to that calf, ankle, or foot, whatever your range of motion allows, or if you're using that strap, just a little bit right around that middle part of the foot, applying a little bit of tension to it, not too much. Making sure, as with any sort of pulling motion, that you're not tightening up those neck and shoulders. And again, here we're not just focusing on rounding forward, collapsing in. We're tipping forward from the hips and then reaching forward towards that foot. Keeping that spine as neutral as possible. Focusing the tension down the back of that leg. The more we tip forward here from the hips, the more we'll stretch out that hamstring. If you have this foot slightly flexed, you'll get a little bit of a calf stretch as well. And as we extend forward, we're of course going to stretch out that low back. Still breathing into that stretch into the nose, out through the mouth. Sinking nice and deep into that stretch. And then on that next inhale, sit on up. Extend out that right leg so you're in a wide-legged position. Once again, finding some length in that spine, flexing both feet since both feet are extended. Inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to start to walk those hands forward to a two-legged seated forward bend. Again, if you want to use that bolster, reach forward under that, reduce your range of motion. That's perfectly fine. Or if you just want to reach forward onto the floor, that is fine as well. Again, we're going to keep that chest open, that spine neutral. Even if that means having to reduce our range of motion, we're just going till we feel that stretch on the back and even the inside of those thighs. This is a great stretch if you have tight hips, and this is a stretch where that range of motion does tend to be a little bit limited if you do have tight hips. Again, we're not letting those feet fall limp. Feet are flexed, active, and engaged throughout. Still breathing throughout, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Belly's relaxed, a little bit of an extension of that low back. Inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to walk those hands back in. What we're going to do is take the soles of those feet together. Throw those heels in towards the hips as close as you comfortably can. You can hang on to your ankles or onto your toes. We're going to roll those shoulders back, down, and in so those shoulder blades are sat flat against your back. Chest is open, the spine is long, those shoulders are stacked right over top the hips, moving right into our bound angle or butterfly pose. I want you to imagine actively drawing your knees downward towards the floor, regardless of how high up or how far down your knees actually are. This is going to stretch out the hips. Even if you can't get those heels all the way in or those knees down towards the floor, don't worry about it. Just go till you feel that stretch right in the groin. And stay right there. A few more breaths. Nice deep breaths all the way into the belly. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Good. These are all good cues for posture as well. So you can think about these on a daily basis. If you ever find yourself slumping forward, rounding those shoulders, just imagine drawing them back down and in. Good. So we're going to move into something called pigeon to stretch out those hips. You're going to turn to face the short side of your mat if you're on a mat. I'm going to start off using my left leg since it's facing the camera. You want that left shin to be approximately parallel with the top of your mat as your right leg extends back. Option, that right foot, top of the foot's going to be flat on the floor. Option 1 is to be in high pigeon, where you're up on your hands. And the same modification is to be up on a bolster, so you're further reducing that range of motion. To get deeper into the stretch, you can lower down onto your forearms. From here, you can stack your fists one on top of the other and bring your forehead to the top of your fists. And from here, you can layer one flat hand over the other and lower your forehead down onto your hands. And it's okay if that shin doesn't stay parallel with the top of the mat. Mine does not, especially on this side where I do have a lower amount of flexibility than I do have on my other side. Imbalances in flexibility is perfectly normal, so don't worry if that's the case with you. You are definitely not alone. So we're going to feel that stretch right here on the outside of that hip. A little bit in the hip flexor and that right leg as it extends back. Breathing in nice deep breaths. Shoulders staying down and away from the ears. Not creating any excess tension in that upper body. Just sinking right deep into that stretch. One more nice deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth, go ahead and prop yourself up if you aren't already, and we're going to go ahead and simply switch sides. Just changing legs, so this time your right shin. Trying to bring it as parallel with the top of that mat if you can. Again, mine doesn't go all the way parallel. Extending that left leg behind you, the top of the foot is flat on the floor. Again, options. Option 1, modification, is to prop yourself up on that bolster. Next option from here is just to be in high pigeon, right up on your hands. From here, come down onto your forearms, or stack those fists, dropping the forehead to the fists. Or same thing, but with flat palms. Of course, the lower you are to the floor, the more challenging this is going to feel. the deeper that stretch is going to be. Find what works for you. Try to do on one side that you did on the other. If you feel like you cannot due to a limited amount of flexibility, again, as always, just go with what feels good. Go where you feel the stretch and stay right there. Again, keeping those shoulders down and away from the ears. Just focusing on where we want to be stretching, which is going to be the glutes, hips on the right side. And we'll still feel a little bit of a stretch in the hip flexor here on the left. As we have that foot extended all the way back behind us. The most important part here is to be feeling that stretch, not to be doing the most advanced variation of it. Never be afraid to modify. Still breathing in nice and deep, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Sitting into that stretch, feeling comfortable or maybe just ever so slightly uncomfortable. And never stretching to the point of pain, just a mild discomfort. Give me another nice deep breath into the nose. As you exhale, come up onto those hands. And we're going to come onto all fours. So our shoulders are going to be right over top our wrists. Our hips are right over top our kneecaps. Feet, I like to have my top of my feet on the floor. We're just going to move into a little cat-cow sequence. So in the next inhale, you're going to arch your back. You're going to pick up your chest, shoulders pulling away from the ears. Inhale, chin comes up. As you exhale, you are going to round that back, bring the chin in towards the chest, belly button in towards the spine, pushing the floor away from you. And inhale, we're going to reverse that, arching that back, chin coming up, shoulders away from ears, and exhale, rounding that back one vertebrae at a time, belly button drawing in towards the spine. Chin to chest. Inhale, arch that back. Exhale, belly button to spine around the back. You are going to go through these two postures, our cat and our cow, following your own breath a couple of times each way. Not too fast, not too jarring. This is not only going to stretch out our upper and lower back, this is also going to stretch out the muscles of our abdominal wall, all while being just a little bit dynamic. A little bit of nice, gentle movement. Good. A couple more times each way. One more time each way, chin comes up. And back rounds, belly button to spine. Inhale, come to a neutral spine. Draw on a nice deep breath, inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to reach those hips back towards the heels. Option one is to have those arms extend forward. Option two, I like to have people tuck their elbows in a little closer. Or you can have those arms extend right to your sides. Sitting back into a nice child's pose, relaxing the belly. Lengthening the muscles of the low back. Forehead reaching towards the floor. If you need to, feel free to take those knees a little bit wider apart if that feels more comfortable, instead of having them closer together underneath you. And it's okay if there is still space between your hips and your heels. Again, we're just focusing on lengthening that spine, releasing the muscles of the low back. Relaxing that belly. And even if those arms are overhead, do make sure there's space between the ears and the shoulders, that you're not tightening up these upper back and shoulder muscles. They carry enough tension as it is already. We don't want to unnecessarily increase that. This is one of the best stretches overall, I feel, especially if you have any low back issues. It's just such a nice relaxing stretch. I'm going to stay here for a few more breaths, still focusing on that breath, drawing it in through the nose and out through the mouth. No rush coming out of this pose. Inhale. As you exhale, slowly walk your hands back up to a seated position. And when you are in seated, go ahead and come to the top of your mat. And at your own pace, in whatever way feels most comfortable for you, meet me on the floor. So you're going to lie flat on your back. And once you are on the floor, go ahead and draw those knees into the chest. If you are using a strap, that strap can get looped around the back of the knees and drawn in, ditto with a t-shirt or a towel. Or you can simply hang onto your knees, shins, onto the hamstrings, whatever feels comfortable. Just like with our child's pose just a moment ago, if you do need to take those knees a little bit wider apart, feel free. If not, just focus on relaxing that belly. And as we draw those knees in, what we're doing is just ever so lightly tucking that tailbone under, which is going to lengthen our spine and stretch out that low back. Do be mindful to keep those shoulders down and away from the ears. It's very easy with any sort of pulling motion to start to really tighten up that upper body. We want to avoid that as much as possible. So you can see I was kind of crossing my feet over. If that feels comfortable, feel free. If not, it's not entirely necessary. It wasn't even something I was really thinking about doing. It just kind of happened. Go ahead and start to draw some circles with the knees. Just getting a little bit of gentle movement in here. A couple of times in one direction. And a couple of times the other way. Doesn't need to be big circles, just getting a little bit of movement in here. A little bit of gentle movement, the spine. Keeping those knees hugged in. Give a little gentle rock side to side, massaging those back muscles into the mat. Good. From here, go ahead and keep that Left knee hugged into the chest, extending the right leg out straight. So you're going to feel a nice stretch kind of in that hip flexor. Give me a nice big inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to take that left knee across to the right, extending that left arm out to the side. Right hand can rest right on the outside of that left leg. Supine twist. You're going to feel that nice stretch in the low back muscles here on the left side. Your head can either look up towards the ceiling or you can turn it to face the left if that feels more comfortable. Relaxing the belly. That chest is open. So you extend that left arm out. And we're still going to breathe in nice deep breaths into the nose and out through the mouth. There's no rush to come out of this pose. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. Just relaxing in that stretch. You do get a greater range of motion and a deeper stretch doing one leg at a time as opposed to having both legs turned in the same direction with both knees bent, which is also fine. We're just going to do it one leg at a time today. And that belly relax, chest open. And a little bit of a gentle stretch in that low back. On the next inhale, go ahead and come back to center. You're going to bend your left or right leg rather, putting that right foot flat on the floor. You're going to take your left leg up in the air. If you have your strap, now would be an excellent time to use it where you could loop that strap around the middle part of that left foot. If you don't have a strap like me, you can hang on to that foot, or you can hang on to your calf or onto your hamstring. All work just fine. You want to make sure that your left hip is staying on the floor, that you're not starting to pick it up in order to bring that leg up in the air. Don't want anyone to do anything to harm their low back. We're going to start off with a reclining hamstring stretch, feeling that nice tension down the back of the leg. That nice big muscle in the back of that leg. You want to make sure on the right that your right knee stays in line with your right hip. This leg does kind of have the tendency to want to shift to the side. Just want to keep that in its assigned seat. Keep everything nice and aligned. And do be mindful to keep the tension out of the upper body. That you're not starting to tighten up your neck and shoulders as you draw that leg in. If you do feel that tension starting to build up in the upper body, the neck, shoulders, just kind of acknowledge it. Wiggle it away. And refocus your intention on the muscles that you want to stretch out, which in this case is our hamstrings. We're still keeping that left foot flexed and engaged. We don't want that foot just to kind of fall limp, because when you do that, you're going to start to feel that tension reduce all the way down the back of that leg. We want to get the most out of these stretches. Go ahead and start to draw some circles with your left foot. I have a little bit of reduced mobility in this ankle, so this is way tough for me here on the left. A couple of circles in one direction, followed by a couple of circles in the other direction. No distinct amount one way and then the other. We're not counting here. I'm not counting. give a couple of flexes forward and back. The more you point that toe towards you, the more you're going to get a stretch in that calf. And flex it away. You're going to start to get a little bit of a stretch in that shin, not too great though. Just point and flex. Getting a little active stretch in that calf. You're still going to feel that stretch in the hamstring, especially as you continue to pull it in towards that chest. Very good. Couple more times each way. And go ahead and drop that ankle down to the opposite knee. We're going to do a little figure 4 stretch. We're going to stretch out the glutes here on the left side. Option 1 is to stay right here. Just the foot crossed one over the other to increase the stretch. You're going to start to pull the legs towards the chest. If you have that strap, you can loop it around this top foot, your left foot, and pull in. Alternative is to hang on to that left shin, or you can do the full thread the needle thing, reaching through to that right hamstring, holding on there. Again, we're going to keep those feet flexed, active, engaged. We're not going to let them fall limp. We want to create as much tension here as we can to get that nice stretch where we want to feel them, which is going to be right here on the glutes on the left side. I just trained legs the other day and we're still a little bit sore in the glute area, so this feels fantastic. Again, we're not pulling so hard that we're starting to create a lot of tension in that upper body. Still breathing to that stretch. Nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Belly's relaxed. Hips, for the most part, stay on the floor. We don't want to have any twisting in that low back in order to get the legs up. Breathing that stretch, finding space. Creating length in those hips. Taking a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, we are going to change sides. You're going to extend that left leg out. Keep that right knee hugged in. We're going to be starting off with that supine twist, taking the left towards the right. Reverse that, the right towards the left. So that left hand can rest right on the outside of that right thigh. That right arm is going to open up to the side. The chest opens up. Again, the head can either look up towards the ceiling or even turn it towards the right if that feels more comfortable. You're going to feel that nice twist, that nice stretch in the low back muscles on the right this time, relaxing the belly. This class is going to be a bit more than 45 minutes. We're not worried about time here right now. We all have plenty of it. Still breathing in nice deep breaths. There's no rush in moving out of this stretch right now. You'll even feel a little bit of a stretch on the outside of the hip here on the right. Since we do have that slightly extended range of motion, that right knee can come down a little bit closer to the floor. Still focusing on that breath, breathing with that stretch. Nice full breath into the nose. out to the mouth. And then the next inhale, go ahead and come on back to center. You're going to bend that left leg, putting that foot flat on the floor. We're going to take that right leg up in the air this time. Again, grab onto that strap if it is something that you are using. We're going to be starting off with that reclining hamstring stretch. If you are not using a strap, you can do like I am and hang on to that right hamstring. You can hang on to the calf, onto the ankle, or reach up onto the toes. You do want to make sure that you don't start to pick up the right side of that hip. You want to keep the hips on the floor. We don't want to start to twist from our lumbar spine. We do not want to do that. Don't want to twist from that low back. Again, keeping that left knee in line with that left hip. We don't want to let that leg fall off to the side. Keep everything nice and aligned. Do be mindful to reduce any tension that might be in the upper body. If you are using that strap, don't pull too hard down onto it that you start to create any unnecessary tension in the upper body, the neck, the shoulders. Keeping that left foot flexed. It is also worth noting there is going to be a slight bend in the knee of the leg that's up, our right leg this time. It's not going to be hyperextended. Soft knees always. Feeling that nice tension down the back of that hamstring. I wouldn't recommend hanging directly onto that knee joint, either above or below it is perfect. Breathing in that stretch, getting length down the back of the leg. Left foot's flexed, active, engaged in the stretch. Keeping on hanging onto that right leg, go ahead and draw some circles with that right foot. So much easier for me to do it on this side for some reason. A couple of times in one direction. Maybe kind of. And switching directions a couple of times, rotating the other way. You always want to keep those ankles nice and mobile. And go ahead and give a couple of flexes and points. And the more you flex the toes to point them towards you, the more you're going to hit that calf for a nice little stretch there. Pointing them away is going to release that stretch. You'll feel a little bit of a stretch in the shin. Still not a proper shin stretch. It's always good to include some slightly dynamic stretching. Nothing too fast, nothing too crazy or jarring. And go ahead and drop that ankle down to the opposite knee. Figure 4 stretch on this side this time. Again, option 1 is to stay right here, just having that one ankle crossed over the other leg. And to increase that stretch, you begin to pull the legs in towards you. Option 1, if you have that strap, loop that strap around the middle part of the right foot and pull in. Or you can honestly hang onto that foot or that shin, that's fine. Or reach through to that left hamstring and pull in. Again, not pulling so hard that you start to create any unnecessary tension in the upper body. You just want to focus on the tension in the hips, a little bit of stretch in the glute on that right leg. Relaxing that belly. Shoulders staying down and away from the ears. And still breathing in nice full breaths. Drawing that breath in through the nose. And and out through the mouth. Keep those feet flexed, active, and engaged. As you find yourself with the feet falling limp, just bring them right back. Just gonna stay here for a few more breaths. And a nice deep inhale. As you exhale, release your feet to the ground. Extend those legs out. Inhale, reach those arms overhead. Feel like someone's pulling your hands and your feet in opposite directions, tightening up every muscle in your body. Inhale. As you exhale, sweep those arms back down to your sides. You can either keep your legs extended straight out, or if you feel more comfortable, you can bend your knees. Or if you have your bolster, that bolster can, or pillow can get propped right underneath your knees for a little bit of extra support. Arms can either go to your side, or you can kind of cross your hands and place them right on the belly, whatever feels comfortable. We are going to end here today with a little stress reduction breathing exercise. Starting off by simply finding your breath. Once again, even though we've been focusing on it for the past hour or so, we're going to focus on breathing in through the nose, fan out through the mouth. Breathe in, feel the chest and the belly rising, filling with air. And as you exhale, you're going to feel the chest sink back down and in, those muscles starting to relax. Inhale, filling up the lungs with air. Exhaling tension from the body. Just getting our breath back. What I'd like you to do is to follow my count, breathing in for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, holding that breath in. And exhaling for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, that's in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Retain that breath. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. In for 4. Hold for 3. And exhale for 5. Give me about 3 to 4 nice deep breaths following that count on your own count. Breathing in and then holding that breath in your lungs and exhaling for longer than you inhaled is going to help that body respond to stress in a more positive and effective manner. Really slowing down your breath and actually holding that deep oxygenated breath in your lungs is going to help you manage that stressful situation, be it physical stress, mental, or emotional, a little bit better than you might otherwise. About 4 to 5, maybe 5 to 6 cycles of this, or a minute of deep breathing, is going to be a very effective tool to have if you are working through a stressful situation, if you're exercising and can't catch your breath, if you're having an anxiety attack. Just taking in some nice deep breaths can help you set your mind to a better place. Tackle that situation with a clearer head. And when you're ready, if you have that bolster, go ahead and Take that guy out of the way. Roll over to your side. And at your own pace, come up to a seated position. Just shy of an hour. So I'm going to come back to a seated position. Go ahead and lace those hands together behind the back. Pull those knuckles back and away from the body. I always like to end with a little bit of a chest stretch where you're stretching out a lot of lower back. I'll stretch out the chest a little bit too. Imagine trying to touch your elbows together behind the back. Just going to stretch out the chest and the front of the shoulders. Reverse that. One hand clasped over the other. Push the knuckles away from the body and feel like you're trying to pull apart your shoulder blades. There's going to be a rounding of the upper and lower back. Chin's going to drop towards the chest. Stretching out once again that upper back. Sit yourself back up. Find some length in the spine. Drop the ear over to one shoulder. Keep those shoulders dropped down. Stretching out the neck. Roll the chin to the chest, other side. Again, shoulders drop down away from the ears. Give a gentle rock, one side to the other. About 3 or so times each way. Not too fast, not too jarring. One more time each side. And come on back to center. Thank you so much, guys. So if this is your first time watching any of our videos, I'm Danielle, part of the training staff at BLRN. And feel free to come back to this video anytime if you want a stretch. Leave a comment down in the box below if you have any questions, any suggestions, any type of videos that you would like to see from me or the rest of the team. I do focus primarily on strength training and a bit of yoga and stretch as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click that little bell notification icon. I don't know which sign it's going to appear on, so you can be sure to get in your email any updates when we add some new videos. So until next time.